The first duty of government is to protect our rights.
It's our job to maintain the proper role of government in what we were tasked to do.
Obviously, we over budgeted last year. I hate to say that I was right, but I was right. So.
And I think that that's what we need to look at more, is trying to get back to what we used to be, where our churches and our families took care of each other instead of relying on the state.
And we have no way to maintain control over the spending of this program, and it will be a disaster for this state long term.
But we have a whole gamut of kids whose parents would like to do something for them and they cannot.
I take our constitutional rights, the constitutional rights of my constituents, very seriously.
This is simply about putting it out of reach of young, innocent, vulnerable children and making our libraries and schools a safe place for them to go.
And I am increasingly frustrated that we cannot stop ourselves from drinking at the public trough.
He's sounding the alarm. He's saying if we don't address these issues, we potentially might have greater problems moving forward.
Mr. Speaker, no matter how you look at it, no matter how you boil this down, there is never any time that a parent's right to govern what their children see and what they're exposed to should ever be bypassed.
If I was looking at a business and I was looking at these figures, there would be heads rolling because this is unsustainable.
We're supposed to be bottom-up government. We're supposed to be representing my citizens' ideas and your citizens' ideas, and we're supposed to be discussing them and debating them to come to a conclusion.
We need to start making Idaho first. We need to start making America first.
We need to be protecting our First Amendment rights, not inventing ways to slowly chip away at them.
The First Amendment and our freedom of religion, freedom of speech are our first liberties. They are so important. We don't have the rest without them.
Well, welcome everybody. The Senate is at ease. We are live here, looking in at a live shot of the House. I'm sorry, of the Senate. Idaho Signal's on the air. It's April 4, 2025. It's so great to have you in the room, wherever you're at, or wherever you're listening. Remember, idahosignal.live if you're out on the road right now. Real quickly, that was the shot of the Senate. They're at ease. The House is also at ease. And we are at the tail end of the session here. They are expecting to what they call sine die, which is just end the session for the year and not come back until January, unless, of course, there's a special session that is called for, which we've seen a couple of times in the last few years. But nothing of pressing to expect that to happen this year. Anyway, the Senate is at ease. However, this morning there was a debate on the DEI bill, Senate Bill 1198. And what was interesting is that if you were with us yesterday and last night, we turned on the feed last night because both the House and the Senate were going well into the evening. And if you watched yesterday, we saw some debate in the House on this DEI bill. Then they amended it and sent it back to the Senate. And last night, the Senate had a debate on whether or not they wanted to concur with the amendments that happened in the House. They did a debate on that. They voted on it and they concurred. So then this morning, there was more debate on the DEI bill, a lot of it being rehashed again. And some of the debate that was happening was saying that this stuff isn't this DEI stuff isn't happening on campuses anymore because we already said that it can't happen. And there were laws passed at the federal level, and there's laws that they passed at the state level that said you can't spend money and do this stuff anymore. But some were claiming that it was still happening. And so much so that Senator Brian Lenny did some real-time research this morning during that debate. And here's what he found.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's interesting that sometimes this issue is talked about or spoken about as if it's not happening or we have to dig very deep when we don't have to dig very deep at all. I was just looking up stuff that's easily available online, Mr. President. Permission to read from Idaho State University.edu from their page, General Ed Objectives and Courses.
Having identified the source, the senator may read.
So, prefacing this by saying that this is currently, right now, happening right now at ISU, Boise State, and the University of Idaho. So from their page, one of ISU's objectives, it says, you guys can, if you want to read along, you can go look this page up right now. ISU objective number 9, cultural diversity. So these are required courses. So that they say, hey, here's one of the objectives you have to accomplish. There's several courses that can fulfill it, but if you want to graduate, our 3 big universities currently right now require students to do this. So again, this is ISU. Upon completion of a course in this category, and it's ISU Objective 9, Cultural Diversity, students are able to demonstrate the following competencies: identify the defining characteristics of culturally diverse communities in regional, national, or global contexts. Bullet point number 2, describe the influence of cultural attributes such as ability, age, class, epistemology, ethnicity, gender, language, nationality, politics, or religion inherent in different cultures or communities. Bullet point number 3, apply knowledge of diverse cultures to address contemporary or historical issues. There's a lot of buzzwords in there, but it's currently happening right now. So all of this talk of, we've made this law and we've made this law. Well, it's happening right now, and a State Board of Education resolution doesn't have the force of law. While I appreciate that, it still has no teeth because it's just an idea. So again, I just wanted to re-emphasize, as they say, on the record, that these things are currently happening. So this bill is definitely another step in the right direction. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, and with that, they ended up taking the vote, and the bill passed as amended, and it's on its way to the governor's desk for a signature. So good news there. And Senator Lenny's right. I mean, this is the whole point. When you pass resolutions or you pass laws that don't have any civil cause of action, nobody takes it seriously, and now you have to beef up what your intent is. And one of the things that happened with this bill, if I'm correct, is that it started out in the Senate and it had the civil cause of action, or if somebody wanted to bring a lawsuit against the school or a department of the school in case this stuff was happening, that the penalties and the fines or even the cause of action itself was very minimal. And then it went to the House and it got amended over there and it beefed up the punishment, basically, and they sent it back to the House and they're like, this stuff's still going on and we want to beef it up. And so the Senate said, all right, well, that's what the bill that came back to us, so we gotta vote on it, and they voted on it. And so that's where it stands. So good news there. Okay. But of course, the big news, the thing that everybody's been waiting for right now, this is why the House is at ease, this is why the Senate is at ease, is the Idaho Medical Freedom Act. What started out as Senate Bill 1023 has morphed into 2 bills, Senate Bill 1210 and House Bill 472. I'll start with the House first. The House Bill 472 is basically dead. It passed the House and was sent to the Senate, and it's sitting in the Senate State Affairs Committee, Chairman Jim Guthrie, and that bill's not going to get a hearing at the moment. So with that, the Senate passed Senate Bill 1210 and sent it over to the House. This morning in the House State Affairs Committee, everyone's favorite committee, they had a full hearing once again. It lasted about 45 minutes to an hour, and Senator Foreman was there to present the bill. Representative Josh Tanner was there to present the bill. Representative Rob Beiswinger was there to close out the presenting of the bill, or to close out the hearing. And then there were, testimony and questions back and forth. And we may have and when you think you've heard it all, when you think, well, we've heard everything on this issue, there's always something to come up. And this is the big problem right now, before we get into these clips, is that there's so many cooks in the kitchen. There's so many chiefs out there and very few Indians that we're in this stage now where the governor clearly stated in his veto that he wanted to be sure that schools would be able to send home a child who is clearly sick or has some sort of, lice, or they walk in the door and they're coughing and they're snotty and they seem miserable, and you take their temperature and you got to send them home, right? He just wants to make sure you're able to do that. And it was pointed out that that's already in statute, that schools have the ability to send people home. And so all that needed to happen was to have this bill amended to point out that is already statute, and nothing in this bill should interfere with that existing law. Well, now because you're opening up the bill again, all sorts of different issues and all sorts of other things come in, and now everybody's got a problem with this, and then someone had a problem with that, and then if we're already opening it up, well, I already had a problem with something there that was existing. So now you got all of this stuff going on. People are shoving new things in there, different statutes. They're bringing up different issues with this, that, and the other. They're trying to define what a parochial preschool means, and if daycares are included in this, and all of this stuff again. And I don't even know where it's at right now. But here's the tricky scenario, is that if they start adding things in, this is my perspective. If you start adding all these things in, you send it to the governor, it's got all these different things going on in there. You've just given the governor more reason to veto the bill, because he was like, well, you changed a bunch of stuff and now I have concerns about this. So I'm not so certain that that's the most wise take on all of this. That being said, here's how it happened this morning. Let's start with Representative Tanner. Let's start with that clip.
You is Senate Bill 1210 as amended. Going through this, I think most people are aware this has been quite a process to get us where we have. We've had the original bill that was vetoed by the governor. There was a House version, 472, and then now the 1210 as amended from the Senate. We have recognized a few issues within this bill that my recommendation would be to send to the amending order. At this point in time, the bill sponsor from the Senate will be here in just a second. I think he was going to grab some notes that he had, but I did want to walk through some of the things that we have seen within it. One of the things is that within this bill, it talks about, and this is going to be in page 2 on line, sorry, I don't know how, but it's section 4 on page 2, and it deals with schools and the meaning of schools. Part of that is the public, private, and parochial schools. So when you're dealing with private and parochial, or the religious type schools, the section that was added in on page 3, section 4, which is referencing Title 33, Chapter 5. If you go into that, I think it's it actually deals with the ability for the schools to send sick kids home, which is an okay thing. It gives the ability, it just references it for the school to actually be able to shut down if referencing from the public health districts or recommendations from them, they could actually still shut down. But within that, it only deals with the public schools, and the private schools, as well as the parochial schools, the Christian or religious schools, have potential issue because they don't have that same authority. So one of the subsections that they're looking to add in would be the private and parochial schools shall have the same authority as provided in subsection 33.512.7. So that was the section that you're giving them that same authority as a regular school at that time. The other sections that have some potential issues, and I shouldn't say they're potential issues, and really this goes back to House Bill 290. So within House Bill 290, there are a couple different sections in there that say they may be excluded, and this deals with daycares as well as schools. They may be excluded if in an outbreak that you can actually send sick kids home. Again, how is that medical freedom? If you, based on both 3911 as well as 4802, 3911 deals with childcare, so daycares. 4802 deals with schools, and we codified what was in rules and put them into law. When we did that, it gives the ability for them to actually send healthy kids home that parents have decided that they don't want to vaccinate their child for any reason, whether it's a religious reason, whether it's a immune compromised reason, no matter what it is, that parent has made that choice and has the ability with under state law to make the choice for their child, no matter what circumstances, whether that's in a daycare or a school. It's always been the parent's rights. So within that, though, when we codify the rules to law, now it says I have to maybe go back and pull up 290. I gave the drafter my copy of it, so I apologize. But within that, it says they may be excluded and pretty much sent home if there was an outbreak. You could actually send healthy kids home, which is an issue. So we'll add something that says notwithstanding language that says under no circumstances may a healthy person be excluded in a disease outbreak due to their vaccination status. So again, we're addressing that issue to make sure that we don't have conflicting aspects within it, because again, we are after medical freedom in that point. The other aspect that we're looking to add in would be something that states that no state agency may adopt or create administrative rules, regulations that conflict with the sections of this bill. Again, we don't want the state agencies to go ahead and have the conflicting issues within this bill and push additional stuff out that conflicts with what we're trying to accomplish within this.
Okay, very good stuff there from Representative Tanner. Senator Dan Foreman, who is the one that carried the original bill on this back, the one that got vetoed, and has been working on this for a while. He was there to deliver his remarks in support of this new version. Let's watch that.
The Senate Bill 1210 as amended, and I'll give you the same presentation I made to the body on the other side of the rotunda, because I think it gives you a good thumbnail sketch of what this is all about, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. This legislation amends Chapter 5, Title 73 Idaho Code. It modifies the existing Coronavirus Stop Act by changing the title to the Idaho Medical Freedom Act and by deleting specific references to the coronavirus. The existing Coronavirus Stop Act prohibits businesses, state, county, and local governments from mandating various coronavirus vaccination requirements on the citizens of Idaho. The proposed Idaho Medical Freedom Act replaces all references to the coronavirus with the term medical intervention. This terminology represents any procedure, treatment, device, drug, injection, medication, or action taken to diagnose, prevent, or cure a disease or alter the health or biological function of a person. The proposed legislation also prohibits any public, private, or parochial preschool, any kindergarten, elementary, or secondary school, post-secondary institute of education, including trade schools, colleges, and universities, or any other institute of primary, secondary, or higher learning operating in this state from implementing any medical intervention mandates as a condition of attendance or to enter a campus or school building or to be employed by the school. It's important to note this proposed legislation does not seek to change or modify the school vaccine policy found in Idaho Code 39-4802 with respect to stated vaccination requirements for K through 12 schools and all post-secondary and vocational institutions, public and private. Current Idaho Code allows parents to opt out their children and students of majority age to opt out of all vaccine requirements by simply providing a signed letter so stating to school management. Senate Bill 1210 as amended does not alter this existing policy as established in code, and any claims to the contrary are misinformed and have no basis in merit or fact. This legislation states that unless required by federal law, no state, county, or local government entity or official in Idaho shall require any person to receive or use a medical intervention, and the receipt of government benefits and services may not be predicated on the mandatory receipt or use of a medical intervention. Also, this legislation provides that no state, county, or local government or business entity in Idaho shall offer any differential salary or wage based on whether the employee has or has not received or used a medical intervention. And no business entity conducting business in Idaho shall require a medical intervention as a term of employment unless required by federal law, such as in cases requiring travel to a foreign jurisdiction where a medical intervention is mandated for entry. It is very important to note the prohibition on medical interventions does not apply to any situation where personal protective equipment, items, or clothing are required by employers in the public or private sectors based on existing, traditional, and accepted industry standards or federal law. Now, having listened to valuable inputs from stakeholders, Senate Bill 1210 has been twice amended to accommodate those inputs and make clear the intent of this legislation is not to interfere with existing law or establish industry standards of practice. The bill also incorporates inputs received from the office of the gentleman on the second floor. And I'd like to note that my negotiations with the gentleman and his staff were very encouraging, very straightforward. There was no deception. There was no trickery. There was no hidden agenda. And I think, and I'm happy to say this is a good example of how government should work. We came together in good faith with different opinions, and we left with a good bill. Everyone was happy. It was cordial. It was businesslike, and that's the way government's supposed to work, and that's typical Idaho.
Okay, so let's skip ahead here because the big question, of course, is was presented by Representative Bruce Skog, and I think Representative Foreman handled this very well. Check it out.
Chairman, Senator, the gentleman on the second floor vetoed a similar bill recently, and now do you have any hope or information to indicate the governor, this gentleman on the second floor, would sign this bill?
Senator Foreman.
Chairman and Representative Skog, yes, I do. I'm reluctant to, and I won't speak on behalf of the gentleman on the second floor, but I guess I would term it this way. If I was, no disrespect intended here, but if I was going to Vegas, I would have really good odds.
All right, put your money down, folks. Put your money down. Excellent. All right, there are a couple of interesting exchanges here that we want to kind of cover. There was some good back and forth here. Representative Joe Alfieri had some clarifying questions here. Let's watch that.
Chairman, good morning, Senator. Representative Tanner mentioned that you were thinking about sending this to the amending order, or as we call general orders. Could you tell us what changes you might be looking for?
Chairman and Representative, this is kind of the last minute situation, but representatives of the Catholic schools were concerned with one aspect of the bill specifically, and I don't want to steal their thunder or try to speak for them, so I'm kind of paraphrasing here. They were concerned about their ability to diagnose things like head lice or pink eye and be able to deal with a student that might be exhibiting those ailments and send that child home. So we do have an amendment coming that directly addresses that, and I think all the stakeholders are in agreement that it's an appropriate change to the bill, and it's one I think everybody agrees with.
Thank you.
And just to let you know, for the committee's edification, I was in a meeting with Senator Foreman, the Catholic schools, and the governor's office this morning, and they would agree to that amendment on the school issue. So,
all right, and Representative Mike Pohanka, where is this guy from again? District 26. He had this exchange.
Chairman and Senator Foreman, could you explain, because I'm a little confused, the difference between House Bill 472 and 1210? Because I am getting phone calls and some texts from some of my constituents saying that they prefer 472 over 1210.
Senator Foreman.
Chairman and Representative, I can only answer that based on what I've heard. I haven't read the referenced bill. However, I've been told by reliable sources, multiple sources, that the only change from the original bill, which was Senate Bill 1023 that I carried, was the House bill added in code reference to indicate that schools could send home a sick child. And whatever that code reference is, I have it here, but I won't waste your time looking for it. So as far as I know, that was the only change between the House bill and the original 1023. The change between 1023 and the current bill, 1210, has more code references. The current iteration has more code references, which I think are good because the code is relevant to the topic. And we have a sentence added with respect to licensed daycare. There's a reference to the code that deals with licensed daycare, and that was in there because of the vaccine issue, the interface with vaccine. So that's my recollection.
Well, and that's why we're in this spot that we're in. I mean, that's why I'm looking at 472 saying that's the thing that addressed the governor's concern. Address it, pass it, get it right to his desk, have him sign it. And if there's other issues or other things that pop up, you come back next session and you fix it. But there's nothing in here that's, I think it's just going to like cause widespread mayhem. So, you know, but this is what they're doing. So they're playing with it. Also, we have, you know, everybody has the ability to look at all these bills. I don't know why you wouldn't look at all the bills. I mean, I'm sitting here, we're looking at the bills. If you're on the Senate side, are you not allowed to look at House bills? I mean, I don't get it. We're at the end of the session here. This is the one last issue. Like, let's get all the bills out there and look at them. It's a little frustrating that no one's paying attention to what the other side is doing. Like, work together. But I'm not there, so it's easy for me to say, right? Easy for me to say. They're good folks down there, trying to do the good work. So I'll give them a little bit of a pass right now for all the hard work that they're doing, because we know they're doing it. All right. That being said, as the hearing commenced, you still have some of the most bizarre arguments, because I'll tell you who's not reading the bill, and if they are reading the bill, they're just not getting it. And these questions keep coming up. This was a citizen who did a remote testimony, and we don't have to listen to her whole thing here, but let's listen to some of her testimony.
Thank you, Chair Crane and members of the committee. I'm Kathy Dawes from Moscow, speaking in opposition to this bill. The bill states that any business in Idaho shall not refuse to provide any service, product, admission to a venue, or transportation to a person because that person has not or has not received or used a medical intervention. So my question, Could a taxi driver refusing to transport a customer who's obviously very ill with a highly contagious disease like measles be prosecuted under this law? Right now, all businesses currently have the right to refuse service to anyone unless the refusal is based on protected characteristics. But with this bill, is the legislature now creating a new protected class?
No. No, Kathy. No, it's not. The taxi driver can still say, I don't want you in my cab because you're sick. No, Kathy. How many times do these examples have to come up? Kathy, no. No. Bad. Get down. Stop bringing up ridiculous arguments. No, it doesn't say that. The taxi driver can't say, before you get in my cab, the nurse in here is going to give you a shot so that you're inoculated before you get in my cab. He can't do that. Right? Like, come on, Kathy, you're killing me. All right. Well, this bill passed out of committee, and will head to general orders where it will be amended. And that is what is going to happen now. So they will make some amendments. They will continue to mess with this bill, try to make it perfect, try to make it veto proof, and get it over the hump. The House is reconvening. We will take a short break. We'll come back and check in on them and see what's going on. We'll be right back.
And that's exactly what happened. You want to pull the tape? You can pull the tape because we now got video.
The dictionary defines a pledge as something that you give as a sign that you'll keep a promise. As Idahoans, that's what we're looking for in our elected leaders. A sign that they'll keep their word. Talk is cheap, and so are political promises, hidden agendas, and special interests. This is why we created the Citizens Alliance of Idaho Pledge, affirming the values Idahoans have been living by for over 100 years, inspired by the only two documents everyone has agreed to live by. So when an Idaho legislator signs our pledge, inviting voters to publicly hold them accountable, that's what we call political integrity. The pledge restores trust and honesty between voters and their legislators. It means protecting our shared values and ensuring your voice is heard in Boise. And that is priceless. Thank your legislator for having the political courage to sign the Citizens Alliance of Idaho Pledge. And if they haven't, it's time to ask why.
All right, folks. The House is back in order here. Let's listen in and see what they're going to be doing. Oh. The House is back at ease. They were just in the they just read off a couple of bills there during the break. And so, I mean, I don't know what they have left here, but we'll keep track on it. Well, yeah, let's leave it up over there. We'll check in. Here's what we expect to happen is that they're going to. Here's what I would expect to happen. They're going to go at ease. They're going to dissolve the House into the committee of the whole, which means the House turns into a committee, and that is where they will take up the amendments to Senate Bill 1210. And so I would imagine that's about what they're going to do. I didn't have audio on their producers, so I don't know if that was really what's going on. Let's switch over to the Senate. The Senate seems to be back, and we'll see what they're doing as well. Again, it's the last day, folks. They passed the budget. They could end at any time. They don't even have to do this, but they are trying to get it done, and much appreciated. But here's a few bills that the Senate is getting ready to cover here. Let's see if we can listen in and see what they're doing.
Being no further business in the 9th order of business, the Senate will now advance the 10th order of business. Motions, resolutions, and the Senate is in the 10th order. The Senate now has before it for final consideration Senate Concurrent Resolution 113. The Secretary will read the resolution.
In the Senate Concurrent Resolution 113 by State Affairs Committee, a concurrent resolution stating findings.
Mr. President.
Senator Den Hartog.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that for the reading of Senate Concurrent Resolution 113 be dispensed with.
Hearing no objection, it is so ordered.
Mr. President, I move the adoption of Senate Concurrent Resolution 113.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Senator Den Hartog, you're recognized to open debate on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President, Senators. Senate Concurrent Resolution 113 is the culmination of all of the work that each of you have done in your various committees, and it approves all the pending rules for this session that are going to become effective on July 1st, and it also approves all temporary rules that were submitted for review, and there were some exceptions. So this would be considered one of the last pieces to going home. Dare I say, it is the going home bill. Debate is open.
Debate is open. Is there further debate on Senate Concurrent Resolution 113? Hearing none, Senator Den Hartog, you're recognized to close debate.
Debate is closed.
Debate is closed. The question before the Senate is, shall Senate Concurrent Resolution number 113 be adopted? All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and Senate Concurrent Resolution number 113 has been adopted. Is there correction to the title?
All right,
Hearing
very
none,
good.
The title is approved.
Let's keep the audio up.
Transmitted to the House of Representatives.
Mr. President.
Senator Den Hartog.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate return to the 9th order of business.
Hearing no objection, the Senate will now return to the
The
9th order of
rules,
business.
all
Messages
these
from the
committees,
House. The
they
Senate
look
is
over
in
the
ninth
rules
order.
of the
Mr. President, for
agencies
Senate
and all of that such.
Senator,
and once they've looked them over, they can approve them, and that's what they just did. So we're going into that, but
Signatures, and then hopefully getting delivered to the gentleman on the second floor for his signature as well. So we'll be at ease again, but stick close by.
Senate will be at ease.
Mr.
All right.
President,
Go.
for an introduction, if I may.
You have the floor.
Up in the gallery here, straight ahead from me, we have my dad here. Last time it was Dad and Mom 2 years ago. She died just at the end of the session last year. So Dad's here, hoping he'll be here many more sessions. But let's welcome Cecil Grove to the gallery. Thank you.
all right, very nice. Okay, so the House is now at ease, or the Senate is at ease. The House is at ease. The House, like I said before, they do need to come back and take up Senate Bill 1210. Let's close out some of that hearing from this morning. There was a Representative Rob Beiswinger helped close out the bill, and here's how it went for him.
Vice Mayor District 8, just I was the House sponsor of the other two Medical Freedom Acts that ran through. So I do want to say we have worked with Senator Foreman. We have spent a bunch of time in the governor's office last night, talking to his staff, going through language, other representatives coming through to get everybody on board, make sure all the language is in sync, because this goes through some codes, and you're now merging into other codes. And so we addressed all those issues, I believe, here. The amendments, I think, will make the objections happy here in terms of definitions for schools, for merging with the bill that passed earlier this year. It was quite the process here. We appreciate the patience and willingness to hear an amendment here at the last minute. I know we're all ready to go and wrap up, and our brains are a little bit fried. I know mine is. But I think just, again, the gist of this will advance medical freedom in the state. People won't be forced to do medical treatments. If you're sick, you can be asked to leave, but you can't force someone to take a medication against their will. And with that, I urge you just to move this to the amending order so we can plug those amendments in and get it done.
They want to keep bringing up these ridiculous arguments. Sorry, you lost my mic there. But let's get her done. Rob says, let's get her done. And we heard some good back and forth, and then there were also, of course, the Democrats raising their questions again, and a lot of them just like they blow my mind, and you wonder what is it with these repetitive questions that don't address what's in the bill. You know, oh, this is going to stop businesses from doing this, or what if somebody comes in, like, you wonder what is it about them And we used to play a lot of good clips from Representative Achilles that, again, made me just, you just sit there and wonder what is going on. And Representative Achilles mentioned something today during the hearing that we kind of found fascinating, and it might be the root cause of what is wrong with these people. Roll it.
15 billion COVID shots have been administered worldwide. That's about 1.7 for every person on the planet. I've had 6.
Hello, folks. Hey, look, I'm not one for, making fun of everybody. You want to take the shot, you take the shot. But I do remember a time where we were vilified, shamed, and basically shunned from society. We had celebrities telling us to just die out on the sidewalk because we didn't want to take the shot. So forgive me if you're somebody who is on your 6th shot, and I'd like to point that out. So, because the man does sound vaccinated. Brian Allman is here. We can't let the session end without getting a word from Brian Allman. Brian, if you're ready, pop on in here. I have not been this excited to end the session in a long time. And apparently we lost Brian Allman. So he's out. I'm gone. He was in, and then he was out. So it was going to be a nice surprise because we haven't talked to him all week. And I know you folks out there love Brian Allman just as much as we do for some good insight. So hopefully we'll have him back. Maybe he had to go find a new perch to happen. But that's okay. Folks, I just want to say really, really quickly here, no matter what happens today with this bill, this has been quite a session. And I know that there's been a ton of just a ton of, I don't know, I guess different tactics, different strategies that have gone into this session, and some have worked well, some others have not worked so well. There's been a lot of noise. We've tried our best to stay on target, to stay on signal, right, and deliver the signal, and give you the tools necessary to A, stay informed, to B, keep others informed by sharing the content you see here, and to have guests on and to have folks on who are able to just help navigate what's going on in our state. There's so much going on nationally. I mean, it's incredible what is going on nationally and in our world, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to really focus on what's going on here in Idaho. So I really do appreciate that. One of the things that we found so exciting this year was to partner not only with Brian Allman, who I hope he can make it back in. He was in there, folks. We swear we saw him. But also to team up with In the Know Idaho. They've been delivering some fantastic content. Lily Allman over there at In the Know Idaho has given us at least one final video that we can show and debut here on the program today. And this is to commemorate the 2 fabulous flag bills that came through the legislature and have been signed by the governor. So take it away, In the Know Idaho.
This flag is very offensive to me. Let me tell you why. It's extremely exclusionary, as there are only 50 stars for 50 states and 0 stars for Puerto Rico, Guam, or the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. What gives? Come back when you have a star for every recognized country in the UN. And then maybe I'll take you seriously. The red stripes are said to symbolize the blood of slaves, Native Americans, and the British. And the white stripes, well, I think that's obvious. And notice how the white stripes place themselves in between the red stripes in order to keep them divided and conquered? Typical. It is the moral obligation of post offices, schools, justice buildings, etc. to seize every opportunity to display controversial political flags with fractional community support. It just makes sense. If you're a high school or a blue state capitol, consider flying a pride flag instead of this shame flag. The people need to know where their allegiances should actually lie. If you're a police station or a courthouse, Consider flying a BLM flag above this ugly thing. Bonus points if you set up a QR code at the base of the flagpole to collect reparations, or gather signatures from everyone in the office to defund the police. If you haven't picked up on this yet, the American flag just isn't conducive to my anti-American ideology. So we desperately need supplemental flags that will make me feel less triggered about living in this dystopian country. One day I hope to move somewhere nicer like North Korea. I pledge allegiance to the current thing. Sorry, America. Liberty and justice for all isn't good enough. What about feeling welcome? What about being affirmed? What about universal basic income? People tell me that I should respect this flag because this is the country I belong to, and because so many people have fought and died to defend my right to criticize this flag in my TikTok videos. But they sound like they don't know what the heck they're talking about. It's actually kind of beautiful when it's waving in the breeze like that. Snap out of it. This flag says all men are created equal and are endowed by their creator with the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Weird. This flag says that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. Triggered. This flag says, don't tread on me. Metaphorically. But that's triggering too. I want a flag that says, I'll believe anything and I don't own a weapon. Drop by any time. Maybe we can finally get rid of this thing. Let's do this, Idaho.
Oh, that's great. Chiquita Tesla, huh? That's funny. It's been so great. Please make sure you guys follow In the Know Idaho on all the social media platforms. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, all over the place. Great. Her and her team over there. Henry too. Henry's great. And yes, look, Jenny Holmes there. Love both Brian and Lily. Fantastic. Okay, well, speaking of Brian, I think we've got him back, do we? Is that the deal? Hey, there he is. Brian Ullman is with us. Fantastic. You teased the people, Brian. You teased them.
Sorry about that. I was getting set up or realized I didn't have the right microphone, so I had to run back for it.
Well, we appreciate that. Yes, very good.
Yeah, it's kind of quiet right now. It's a lot of hurry up and wait here in the Capitol. We're waiting just on some paperwork. There's one more vote to be done on both sides with that medical freedom bill. But it's a lot of just waiting. It's like the last day of school. Almost all the schoolwork's done, but you got to be here for a few more hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not allowed to leave the campus yet until that bell rings. Okay, so 2 votes left. So obviously that's Senate Bill 1210. We expect the House to go into their general orders, right? And then once they do that, it'll go back over to the Senate. Walk us through a little bit of that, of what we are waiting for.
Yeah, so Senate Bill 1210, it's Senator Dan Foreman's new Medical Freedom Act. Obviously, the House had their own version, which passed the House, but the Senate, I guess, decided not to hear it. So this is the one option that's left. It was amended to take away the daycare exemption that was originally put in for some reason. But that was taken out, and Representative Tanner and Representative Weiswinger, along with Senator Foreman, presented it in House State Affairs this morning, and they seem to think that with a couple more amendments, it'll be good. And the folks from Health Freedom Idaho, they've been saying the same thing. Couple more amendments, it'll be great. So we'll see what happens. The thing with the amending orders that it can be a little unpredictable. So we'll see. But if all goes as planned, they will present their amendments, concur, add them into the bill, then vote on the bill, pass it, send it to the Senate. Senate will concur and vote on it, and then they will be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that, right? It's as simple as that. What I mean, I got a little frustrated when House Bill 472 was a very clean, clear, concise reaction to the governor's veto. Very, very simple. Now you've got 1210, and it's already been amended once. It's going to go do it again. And you've had, at first when 1210 came out, it was like the whole world ended. You had some folks being like, "Oh my God, this is the worst thing ever." And then you had people settle down and they looked at it and they said, "Okay, well, we can amend it, we can change it." And now people are kind of like, "Well, I'm not so sure." I mean, again, when you're meddling this hard, doesn't this just give a reason for the governor to kind of go, "Well, you didn't really stick the landing on this one"?
Maybe. Senator Foreman said in his testimony this morning that he has assurances that he would take to Las Vegas if he could, that the governor will sign it, assuming they don't make too many substantive changes in the House amending order. And of course, that's always the fear. And in discussions with other, conservative folks this morning, there's two lines of thought. There's, well, this bill has a couple of problems. Let's kill it and just come back next year fresh. I lean more toward the other direction, which is, okay, this bill has a couple of problems. Let's get it in. Let's get it in law. And if we can amend it next year, if necessary, which I think a majority of people are leaning towards, the conservatives in the House and the Senate. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yes, well, I've heard from a bunch of legislators that they want this done because they don't want to see this again. They don't. I mean, look, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of playing these clips of these same arguments over and over and over again. It is like it just needs to get done. And look, if it starts a whole firestorm, the hornets go crazy because you wrestled their nest away. Then deal with it next year, deal with it next year if it's too harsh or if it's too lenient. But let's just get it done. We got the masks done. We got the health districts done. That was another big thing. The health districts, the removing the language that says health districts can do all things, that now they have to actually look at actual science, provable science, to back up their recommendations or their strong warnings about what governments and local folks should be doing.
We've made a lot of progress this year. A lot of good things have happened. Not everything we wanted, and not everything's perfect, but I think overall it's been a good year. We've gotten a lot of great things done, and this is just the one last thing waiting on the list.
It really is. It really is, and I think it just needs to happen. And I know there's a lot of appetite for that. I think Representative Crane at one point said I'm sick of it. I'm sick of having to deal with the COVID stuff in the building, and there's a lot of people that feel the same way, but I'm also sick of it because I don't want to have to deal with it again in real life outside the building. And there's so many people watching.
What Representative Achilles said in committee this morning, I don't know if you played the clip, he was saying that he opposed the bill because it ties our hands in the future. We're looking backwards. We're not looking forwards. What about the next pandemic? Well, maybe masks or vaccines will be necessary. Well, that's the whole point. We don't want government or even in this case, businesses telling us that we have to go do this medical procedure. And that's the fundamental thing that we're trying to establish with this bill here, no matter what the details are.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly it. And he's now on record, Brian.
14 billion COVID shots have been administered worldwide. That's about 1.7 for every person on the planet. I've had 6.
I think now we know the reason. We know the reason why some of this stuff is going on here.
Senate coming behind me here.
Oh, the Senate's coming in. What are they doing there? I was Senator Taves, Senator Lent.
Yeah, they're. I think the House is out until they said 1:00, so it's lunchtime.
It's lunchtime now. Okay, well there they head. Maybe I'll bug them and see if one of them can come on. Anyway, all right. Well, then let's reflect a little bit, Alman, if you can. What is? I mean, like we said, we've gone over some of the big wins when it comes to addressing the COVID stuff, but otherwise. I mean, when it comes to DEI, when it comes to, protecting kids, when it comes to protecting women specifically, like when I think about the women's prisons, the juvenile detention centers and that sort of thing, campus free speech. I mean, there have been some tremendous wins, the tax break. Yeah. What are some things that stand out to you when you look over the past 3 to 4 years that never would have happened had we not had the elections that we've had in the last couple of years?
Well, I think one of the most obvious ones is mask mandate prohibitions. That they tried that. We're trying to bring that for years, and it finally got through. A real school choice bill, and we'll see how that plays out. But that was never able to get through in the past. Everything you just mentioned, all the free speech stuff, all the protecting women's spaces stuff. Senator Cole. I don't know. That's one of the things I'm going to do in the next few days, early next week, is sit down and actually look at, okay, what did we accomplish this year? Because there's too much just to list off the top of my head. Moving a lot of those rules into statute, I think, was a good thing. Taking away a lot of the rulemaking abilities of the state government agencies, the unelected bureaucrats who, for too long, have been making law.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and yeah, and I look forward to a report.
No more
from
pride
you.
flags in public school classrooms.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible the amount of great bills that have come through, and some of the procedural ones, like you mentioned, moving rules into statute. That way you can deal with it. So I really do commend a lot of the work that's been going on behind the scenes there, and I just look forward to. I mean, at some point you think like, well, what's left? The only thing left is just to continue cutting the budget and getting people their money back. I mean, when you think about all of the national news with the tariffs, Trump's big Liberation Day and tariffs and all that. I mean, if this thing really is going to work and we're going to see manufacturing return to the country, you're going to see new sectors open up in Idaho, perhaps. I mean, the outlook is good. I think it's good to be optimistic again.
I agree, and I think we do have things to build on for next year. We need some more work on immigration. We need e-verify. I think that should be a top priority next year. Continue cutting taxes, cut the income tax even further. Continue figuring out something with property tax and local taxing districts so that people aren't taxed out of their homes. Continue cutting the budget, trying to reduce our reliance on federal funds because that's definitely a poison pill, especially when we don't know what the federal government's going to do to fix their national debt, which could impact how much money they give us.
Yeah, very very good point. And then the other thing too is elections. We got to make sure we have a good election system here in our state, but as we see across the country, the absentee ballots. That is the biggest problem. That is the biggest issue that's facing us in terms of elections here, and whatever's going on with these electronic machines. I mean, that's another story. But at least with the ballots being sent to homes that don't exist, people that don't live there anymore. I mean, you can't be doing that, and we got to shore that up too. So, all right, Allman, one last time here, my friend. Where can people follow you? Where can people find you and follow your stuff throughout the year? And of course, and a good end of session report.
GemStateChronicle.com. Over the next week or so, I'll be looking back at the session, what went right, what went wrong, what we have to build on for next year. This isn't an election year, so got to figure out what I'm going to focus on this summer. Maybe some more in-depth stuff. Maybe do some traveling, talk about some things I haven't covered yet. And of course, at GemState Brian on X, where I will be covering the whatever happens today. About 1 o'clock, I'm going to have to go move my car first, but we'll finish up this session.
All right, very good. Yeah, and folks, if you want Allman to come visit you and speak at your events, you got to reach out to him, man. It's really good.
Yeah, always happy to come speak. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, very
and
good.
It's been great being on Idaho Signal this year. So.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. A fantastic addition, and we'll have specials and stuff throughout the year too. So we'll see you back here, brother. All right, Allman. All right, folks. Well, here's what I can't promise everything, but here's what I'm gonna try and do. If the House, and we're gonna sign off here in a minute, but if the House and Senate come back and start their debate on this bill and start doing the amending order, we'll probably turn the channel back on and just let you watch it. So I know some people like to do that. Of course, you can go to the legislative Idaho Public Television and watch it there. But there's no commenting. There's none of that stuff. At least here, if you're on Facebook or YouTube or X or something, you can comment with each other. So that's why we would want to turn on the feed. You can go just watch the raw footage over there, but that could be kind of boring if you're not watching it. So we'll try and do that. We'll keep tabs on that as we go along here, but I can't guarantee we'll be able to do that. But we'll give it a shot. That being said, folks, I think was there something else that, our pledge, right? I've got two things I want to share with you. I don't have any, I should have had the graphics prepared for this. But two things. One, if you want to go, maybe we could put this at the bottom, citizensallianceidaho.org/training, citizensallianceIdaho.org/training. If you are interested in running for office, if you're watching these clips and you're like, oh boy, I got to replace that person, we want you to go over here and apply to come to one of our candidate trainings. Citizens Alliance of Idaho holds these candidate trainings. You learn how to fundraise. You learn what it takes to run a campaign. It's all a huge educational one-day event. that we're holding in Boise in May. So go to this website right there and just sign up, fill it out. I can't guarantee your spot, but if you are, oh look, there it is. But if you are, if you want to register to come out, then you come to you go to that website there and fill it out, and we'll see if we can get you a spot to come over and learn all about how to run a campaign. We'll have some great experts on hand, and we'll teach you all the secrets, including door knocking, which is the one most important thing that you can do as a candidate is door knocking. Okay, and then of course the other thing is ask your legislator to sign the pledge. If they haven't signed it yet, you got to ask them. It's time to sign. We've got 41. Probably got 42 in the bag almost. We'll see what happens. The pledge went out to them for them to sign. We'll see if they sign it. 41 legislators have signed it, and we just want to up those numbers, folks. Get those numbers up. All right, thank you so much, folks. It's been a blast. We'll be here throughout the year occasionally as things pop up, but please drop us a line, drop us an email, still give us your voicemail, and we will see you here at the next time breaking news happens. All right, folks, take care, and God bless.
This bill, I think, it puts a stake in the ground that says we have a sovereign right to protect what's ours.